Hey, first grade. Welcome to Science with Miss Conley. This whole week we have been talking about the moon, Earth, and sun. We've been talking about how the moon looks from Earth, how the moon looks as an astronaut. We've been talking about all the different phases. We've even talked about what phase we're in right now. Today, we are going to make our own moon phases from Oreo cookies. Now, normally, if we were face-to-face, we would be doing this together as a class. And it's one of my most favorite experiments to do with the moon. So today, we're going to learn a little bit more about the moon phases, and then we're going to make our own moon phases. And you can see here, when you're looking at these Oreo cookies, you can see right now, we are in the waning crescent. We're kind of like right here. Remember, waning is when it's getting smaller and smaller, and we're about to go to the new moon where the sky will just be dark. You won't be able to see the moon at all. And then it's going to start looking like it's getting bigger. It's not really getting bigger. The light is just shining differently. And then it will be the first quarter or half moon. Either way, that just means 50% of the moon you can see. And then it will be back up to a full moon again, which will be super exciting. Is going to happen next week. Here are our vocabulary words. I'm going to say the word, and you're going to repeat after me. Now, we've already done these vocabulary words, but just a little refresher. Pattern, waning crescent, waxing crescent, and lunar. Here again is showing you the phases of the moon, and you're going to need to know this when you make your cookies, because you're going to pick which phase you want to do. Here's our question for today. How can we make moon phases from Oreo cookies? Wow! Maybe you've already done this before. Before we do that, we're going to go ahead and review again a little bit more about the moon, and we're going to watch this Brain Pop video.
Missing the moon? If found, call Moby? Don't worry, Moby. The moon isn't missing. What is the moon? The moon is the Earth's closest neighbor in space. It's a huge piece of rock that goes around our planet. The moon is big, but much smaller than Earth. Nope. The moon isn't made of cheese. It's dry and rocky. The moon has mountains and valleys, just like Earth. It also has craters, or holes made by rocks that crashed into the moon long ago. How does the moon move? It takes 24 hours for the Earth to spin all the way around. The moon orbits, or goes around the Earth. It takes about 28 days for the moon to orbit the Earth. While the moon orbits the Earth orbits the sun. Every day we see the sun rise in the east and set in the west. We can see the moon do the same thing. It rises in the east and sets in the west. We see the sun and the moon move across the sky because of the Earth's rotation. What are the phases of the moon? The moon doesn't make its own light or heat like the sun. We can see the moon because the sun's light shines on it. Well, let's pretend my flashlight is the sun and you're the moon. The light only shines on part of you. The other side is too dark to see. One side of the moon is always lit by the sun. As the moon rotates and orbits the Earth, different parts of the moon are lit by the sun. The moon looks like it's changing shape, but really it's just going through phases. The first phase of the moon is called the new moon. The sun lights the side of the moon that faces away from Earth. The side of the moon that faces us is dark, so we can't see it. The next phase is a crescent moon, and then we see more of the moon. About 14 days after the new moon, we see a full moon. During a full moon, the sun lights the side of the moon that faces us. Then after that, we can see less and less of the moon. After about 28 days, the cycle starts over. When the shape of the moon seems to grow bigger, we say that it's waxing. When the shape of the moon seems to grow smaller, we say that it's waning. How do we know so much about the moon? People have been studying the moon for thousands of years. Ancient people built temples and looked at the moon's changing phases. Later, scientists like Galileo built telescopes. Telescopes are tools that can help people observe objects that are far away. In 1969, astronaut Neil Armstrong became the first human to set foot on the moon. Right, Moby. There are tons of stories and poems about the moon. Different Native American communities have folk tales about how the moon came to be. Many cultures have passed down stories about the man in the moon, but other cultures have stories about a rabbit in the moon, or a woman in the moon. Anyway, Moby, the moon definitely isn't missing, so you don't have to worry. Nice moonwalk.
Okay, guys, now that we watched and got a little review of the moon, now we get to baking the cookies. So, how can we make moon phases from Oreo cookies? Now, we've already seen this. Here's just an example of all of the moon phases here. This one I actually like a lot better. So think in your brain which one you want to do. Now, you're not going to do the full moon because that would just be opening up the Oreo cookie. So you might want to do a half moon, which could be a third quarter or a first quarter because 50% of it is showing. That means half of it is showing. Waning is when it's getting smaller. And then, of course, waxing crescent is when it's going towards the full moon. Okay, guys, we're going to watch this short video of Miss Conley making our moon phases from cookies.
Hey, first grade. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of the moon phases with an Oreo cookie. And this will be your assignment. Now, if you don't have an Oreo cookie, it's okay. You could just draw it. All right, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and open your Oreo cookie. You might need to twist it a little bit to make sure that you still get this cream part here. Oh my goodness, look at this right here. This is a full moon, but of course we're going to do something other than a full moon. So Miss Conley is going to go ahead and do first quarter, which is also half moon. So if you need to know the different phases of the moon, and go ahead and show them this right here. Here are the different phases of the moon. So you could do third quarter, you could be super fancy and do a waning crescent where you would kind of have to make it more of an oval shape here. Miss Conley's going to do the first quarter or half moon because 50% of it is gone. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, I'm going to do the half moon or the first quarter, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm using just a little like a butter knife, nothing sharp. And I don't know, you'll probably eat that later. Okay, there you go. There's my first quarter. And then what you're going to do is you're going to write on a piece of paper what it is, first quarter, or this is a half moon. And this is actually going to take place, I looked it up on my app, this is actually going to take place on the 23rd. So in about 8 days or so, the moon's going to look like this. Miss Conley's going to look outside and see if it looks like that. All right, good luck, first grade.
Okay, guys, your assignment is to make a moon phase from an Oreo cookie, and if you don't have one, you can just draw it. Label it and record an explanation of your moon phase on Seesaw. You don't have to do all of the phases, but if you want to be a rock star, you could do all of the phases, but definitely at least one. All right, first grade, good luck!